was a certain man in Russia long ago. He was big and strong and his eyes a flaming glow. Most people looked at him with terror and with fear, but to Moscow chicks he was such a lovely dear. He could preach the Bible like a preacher, full of ecstasy and fire. But he also was the type of teacher women would desire. Rah rah Rasputin, lover of the Russian queen. He was a cat that really was gone. Rah rah Rasputin, Russia's greatest love machine. It was a shame how he carried on. What the fuck am I doing? I'm having way too much fun recording this review. Hey guys, so today's movie that I'm going to be reviewing is the long awaited prequel to the Kingsman franchise, and just to confuse you, it's called The Kingsman. Okay? That's just going to make discussing this franchise with your mates even more confusing. I think the best film in the franchise is The Kingsman. Are you having a laugh? The best film in the franchise without question is The Kingsman. Wait. What? You heard me. God, it's kind of like discussing the Purge franchise. I don't know which one's which anymore. Matthew Vaughn, the man behind the first two Kingsman movies, is back in a producing, writing, and directing capacity, but instead of continuing the story of Eggsy, he's decided to take things back to the early 1900s during the time of the First World War and give us an origin story as to how the Kingsman organization was forged. The film follows a chap called Oxford, played by Ralph Fiennes, as he assembles a team of domestics. You've got Shola, played by Djimon, Hounsou, Polly, played by Gemma Arterton, and Oxford's 19-year-old son Conrad, played by Dickinson, as they hatch a plan to take down the infamous Russian monk Rasputin, played by a scene-stealing Rhys Ifans. That's all you really need to know about the plot. It's been 4 years since we've seen a Kingsman film. That's as much time between Olympics. This film was actually intended to be released in November 2019, but was hit by countless pushbacks, some due to the pandemic and some for undisclosed reasons. And then they decided to finally release the film a week before Spider-Man No Way Home. So part of me was concerned 20th Century Studios might have been trying to bury a film they didn't have a lot of faith in within all the pandemonium of a Spider-Man release. Thankfully, now that I've seen the film, that's not really the case. I will admit I was a bit nervous for The Kingsman, but I really enjoyed this film. I'll get my main criticism of this film out of the way first, and that is that the first act of this film does feel quite rushed. There's loads of exposition, loads of brand new characters to introduce, and it does take a while for the plot to be set up properly. But when the mission to take down Rasputin really takes off, the film finds itself. By that point in the runtime, it really starts to feel like a Matthew Vaughn film, and by that I mean the action sequences are delicious. Matthew Vaughn really knows how to shoot action sequences in a very kinetic, dynamic way. The first action scene involving Rasputin is like how I would imagine Matthew Vaughn would direct the Bolshoi Ballet. This whole scene is just alive with energy, passion, and fire. It's a truly grand and stupidly entertaining action set piece. The violence wasn't as bloody or as pulpy as the previous two Kingsman films, and honestly there wasn't as much profanity as I was expecting. I think they're trying to make the franchise a little bit more family friendly, but it still has some exhilarating action sequences. There's one that occurs across no man's land, and I won't say anything more about that, but that was breathtaking. As for other positives, the performances all around are great, too many to list one by one, but the standouts for me were Ralph Fiennes and Rhys Ifans. Ralph Fiennes plays the protagonist, Oxford, and he gets a very rewarding hero's arc, because Matthew Vaughn really took the time to humanize the character before he goes on his journey. I felt a great deal of pathos for his character. At the start of the film, he is an overprotective father as well as a conscientious objector, as in he doesn't want to partake in any violence. And that's because he's incurred some tragedies and he's seen what the horrors of war can do to you. So he just really wants to protect his son, but as their mission progresses, there's so much great character development for Ralph Fiennes' Oxford. It's very rewarding. And as we've seen from the Grand Budapest Hotel, Ralph Fiennes can turn on the charm, and he really is just the most splendid chap as Oxford. He might be a generation's M, but this film is his Bond. I thought he was flipping fantastic in this film. And everything that Rhys Ifans was doing as the larger-than-life, throat-singing Rasputin, I was eating it up. I mean, talk about a scene stealer. I think for many people, myself included, their main takeaway from the Kingsman movie will be Rhys Ifans' performance. It is so damn good. And I know this isn't going to happen, but I would love to see Rhys Ifans in the Best Supporting Actor category for this performance, because it is honestly one of the most entertaining and memorable performances of the year. And also, Best Supporting Actor is such an open race. Why couldn't we see Rhys Ifans in there for this performance? I know it's not an Academy performance, but oh my god, it's so damn entertaining. Oh my god. I'm not in any way saying that he's gonna get an Oscar nomination for this performance. I'm just saying I wish that he would. Fans of the Kingsman comic books and franchise will appreciate all the little nods, Easter eggs, and references in the script, as well as the mise en scène. There's plenty of fan service in this film, but without it being too heavy-handed. Like I said, there are some script problems in the first act. It does feel like it's meandering around before it really finds its rhythms, but then it does get quite enjoyable. There's still plenty of dry British humour, and the music choices, as always, are as punchy as the previous two films. There is a romance between two characters which was a little bit underbaked. Despite the chemistry of the actors, there wasn't really much exploration of that romance, so that could have used a little bit more attention. And to be honest, the film didn't really need it. It was a tad unnecessary. So not everything in this film worked. It's a little uneven in places, but it's still tremendously entertaining. So let's ask them 3 questions. Firstly, would I watch this again? Absolutely. This is a delightful addition to the Kingsman franchise. Again, it's not as delightfully surprising as the first Kingsman film, but it's definitely on par with the second one, maybe even slightly better than the second one, but that's just me. Question 2, do I recommend it for you guys? I'm gonna recommend The Kingsman to all fans of action movies, because this is a really fun action film. It's a total blast. But it's also got a surprising amount of humanity in this film. It's not just a lot of empty noise or action for the sake of action. You actually do care about the characters in this film. So yeah, if you're looking for a fun, disposable popcorn movie, then yeah, I recommend it. Also, if you do go see this film, stick around for the end credits because there's something juicy there for you. And third question, what score do I give it out of 10? I dare say that The Kingsman is a more mature, somber, and stoic entry into the franchise. Matthew Vaughn definitely took some risks by making a prequel set in World War I, but I would say for the most, they've paid off. It's well shot and well acted, and there were some unexpected turns that I definitely didn't see coming. And it definitely did prompt an emotional response. I heard audible gasps in the cinema during one very heart-tuggy scene. It might not be as gratuitous as the modern-day set Kingsman films, but it's still a fun origin story and a fun action movie. So I'm going to give The Kingsman a score of 7 out of 10. But as always, guys, it's just one bloke's opinion. Have you guys seen The Kingsman? If you have, what do you make of it? How do you rank the 3 Kingsman movies that we've got? Whatever you have to say, let your voice be heard in that comment section down below. If you have enjoyed this video, help support the channel by hitting that thumbs up button. If you haven't done so already, don't forget to click subscribe, and if you want to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, all those links are in that video description down below. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. For more things related to movies, TV, and popcorn culture, I'm Nick Airfield, and I'll see you next time.